Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Qdabra's weekly webinar. My name is Patrick, and I'm one of your presenters today. We also have Mel and Jimmy here doing demos. I want to welcome you all to our weekly webinar. Thanks for being here. First of all, I have a new demo for you today. We're kind of excited about it. We haven't done it before, so just kind of a heads up that we've got a demo that we're going to show you that is pretty cool, and hopefully it will work. So today we're talking about connecting your data, your forms data, to SharePoint and beyond. We've got different kinds of ways in which you connect data and different reasons for it. Obviously, if you've got data in your form, you want to get it into SharePoint for these reasons. One is to use it in those SharePoint processes, like a task list. If you have a form that has visits on it, somebody is going out into the field to collect some data, then you'd want to map that data to a task list so you could monitor it via SharePoint tasks. You'd also want to map data, for example, email addresses to the library so that you can run workflows on the items as they're added and to send people email notifications. You may want to export data for reporting, and sometimes you'll have a form that has lots of data in it, like timesheet has a lot of different entries for each day of the week. To report on that, and it requires some kind of a parent-child mapping. You may also want to take that data and move it to another process. For example, timesheet data could go to an invoice request form, and so you may want to map that data to another form. We call that form-to-form mapping. For today, we're going to demo two of these reasons, really. One is you also may want to upload attachments and documents or images so that you can either edit them outside the form or view them outside the form. And we'll show a demo of that today. We'll also show taking those attachments, images specifically, and analyzing them using one of these web services. So web services have been popularized for many, many years now. There are a gazillion web services out there, and one of the ones that we have incorporated into the demo today is a Google Vision API. The Google Vision API is pretty cool. It's got a lot of data it provides on images. It can do optical character recognition to transform a picture of text into text that you can actually process. You can look at images and find out where they're from. You can even do face recognition. So we'll show that today. And then lastly, another reason to get the data into SharePoint is to, I guess, leverage these links in SharePoint. So SharePoint can have smart links for people, for metadata, for things like that. And we've done webinars on this in the past. In fact, if you look at our webinar list back in June, you can go back and see how to map data for people pickers, how to map data for metadata, and so on. So for the purpose of this webinar today, we're going to focus just on processing images, uploading files. So if you've got other scenarios, please don't hesitate to let us know. So in fact, before we get started with the demos, I'm going to actually jump to the second demo because I think this one's a little catchier. And before we do this, I just want to do a quick poll here. And we have two polls today, and just to get your attention, we're going to start off with the first poll. iPhone X was announced 2 days ago. iPhone 10 is how they're saying it. There's a bunch of features in it, and you get to pick which one you think is the most important one. And go ahead and just pick one of them. If you're an organizer, obviously you can't pick them. So it looks like a lot of you are choosing face recognition. I'll give the poll another 2 seconds here. 75% face recognition, 17% OLED, and now that's gone up to 23. So about 3/4 of you are choosing, 2/3 to 3/4 are choosing face recognition, and the others are choosing. No one's choosing augmented reality. The next poll kind of pivots on this last poll. So there was a comment by, I don't know if it was Jeff Sessions or not, but somebody mentioned that Apple needs to make sure that face recognition data is privatized. And this happened this week as well. And so the question is, well, why would he be worried about it if he indeed said that or said something to them? Is it because, well, these are some kind of humorous things. So you guys can read, and we can guess which one, is the reason. But the point here is that face recognition is one of these new artificial intelligent kind of machine learning features that is now in the iPhone, and it is going to be popularized in about a month or 2 months when the iPhone hits the market. 10/27. If you're watching your calendars and you want to get that, I don't know if I'm going to get it, but you won't have to use your fingers anymore. The biometric data is going to be your face, so it's going to recognize your face. And so that's kind of setting the stage for this demo. I want to ask Mel now to present. She's going to show you, hopefully, this demo working in the phone. Mel, I'm going to make you presenter. We've set the stage with face recognition. We've gotten everyone's attention now. We've got to close the poll out first. Sorry about that. Oh, by the way, pretty much everyone said AI isn't perfect. So that was 53% of you, and 17% said the first answer, and it was 17% for the prevent robots and 9% for the others. So Mel, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks, Patrick. And I'm trying to show my screen now. Let me know when you can see it.
Looks great.
All right. Yep. So hi, everyone. For today's webinar, we'd like to start showing you a demonstration of how we're integrating our InfoPath forms in Forms Viewer, and with the help of Google Vision, just like Patrick explained, we're able to do face recognition and OCR and location and stuff. So without further ado, so right now I'm showing you screen share of my phone here. I'm using an Android device and typing in using my keyboard. So this form is supposed to just maybe monitor who are currently visiting our site here, and Patrick's going to send you a link so you can do your own selfies here so you know that you visited the site. So in my Android device, I'm given the options to use my camera or just pick from my existing images. So for this demo sake, I'm going to pick camera and capture a selfie. Don't be shocked. All right, so here it goes. So I took that, and I'm going to pick OK and click OK again. So then it starts to upload to our servers, and Google Vision then analyzes, does the face recognition. If it's the picture uploaded was a picture of a human, it's supposed to return face attributes or face annotations. Like right here, showing me, showing you the score for if you're angry, if you're happy, sad, and surprised. Looks like it detected myself as a joy. I'm excited to do this demo today. And yeah, Patrick, if you want to talk about the other goodies here.
Well, let's do a couple more. Let's do OCR, and let's do because we've got for those of you who have watched Inside Out, which is this wonderful movie about emotions, apparently there's only 4 emotions out there, and those are the 4. So if you got the link in the chat, you can try to do one of the other ones. Try surprise, because we haven't been able to get surprise working yet. But if you can try to do surprise, you'll have to copy the link and send it to yourself on your phone. I don't have everyone's email address handy, but or you can just do it on your desktop. You don't need your phone because most of the desktops out there have cameras these days. So just remove the blue tape from your camera so that the phone, you can see yourself. Just kidding. But let's do landmarks, Mel, and let's do OCR. Do you want to show them that?
And you want me to show submit first so that it submits to...
Oh yeah, let's submit, because we're going to show you how it integrates with SharePoint too at the end. But let's submit this one. Let's do one for the Space Needle if you've got that, or I can do it. And let's do another one for some text.
Okay. So as that form tries to submit, then we'll jump over our SharePoint library where we upload pictures. So it's a picture library. Refreshing here. So here we should see if, and these are the emojis that I'm using in the form right here. This page is trying to load right here. Let me refresh again there to refresh the thumbnails, and I'm going to show you the list next. So these are taking time loading, but it's submitted to the SharePoint list here with a link to the photo. And if I click on the photo, you should be able to see that again. So this is where what I submitted. So we're promoting, or we're mapping to the columns photo URL and the face emotion there. So if I look at this, click on the link there, then I'm going to see a full resolution of the image that I just took. It's kind of blurred. I was shaking.
But
So
Google can
here
figure
we
it
go.
out. So you got it here. So we're going to see other people's images here in a second. And you don't have to take a picture of yourself if you don't want to. And that's why we wanted to also show you these other demos. Let's see, Mel, do you want to quickly do it again and then add an image of the Space Needle?
Yep, let me refresh here. Okay, so instead of a selfie, let's pick from my documents. Apparently that's, so let's first do Space Needle.
We've heard some feedback from customers that this click choose file is not super intuitive. So we are going to, can you name that, just name it Space Needle, Mel, and we'll save that one as well. As you can see, the Google API is being called as soon as the image is uploaded. This is actually a picture I took, and you can see that it automatically detects not only that it's the Space Needle, but also it detects where I was when I took the picture and what my perspective was. So that's really, really cool, or not, as the case may be, if you are worried about people tracking your location. So let's hit submit on that one, Mel, and then let's do the text. And for those of you wondering, what on earth did it take to do this? It didn't take. We have Jimmy Risch here, who did the form. Mel made it mobile, made it look good in the mobile. But Jimmy, how much time did this take you to put together last night?
The initial part to get the functionality added was, I guess, about an hour. Then adding little the different functionality one by one, I'd say it took about 30 minutes each. There was OCR, the landmark recognition, those labels, and the facial recognition. And then just to get everything polished and sort of tidy up the functionality, it took about another hour, so 4 altogether.
And we wouldn't expect to have to do that all again, because we've got the sample form, and we could either make that into a control like an XTP, or we could just give people the sample as part of this webinar, and then they could incorporate it into their forms, right?
That's right. It should take less work now that we've got it working. And
so, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm going to switch back to my slides in a second here. So did anyone get the link? Let's just check, Mel. Go back to that site list and let's refresh and see if anybody else has uploaded anything. For those of you in the webinar, we did put the link in the chat window, and hopefully some of you have filled it out. If not, yeah, we got Shaylee. Awesome job, Shaylee. So we got, it looks like just Shaylee has filled it out. So, and if you've got a moment, we're going to come back to this when we show how we did the mapping to SharePoint. Jimmy, did you want to mention anything else before we switch back to the slides?
No, not specifically. I just want to say this is it was kind of fun working on this and finding out that QRoles was indeed capable of doing these kind of neat things, and hope to find more fun stuff to do with it in the future.
Yeah.
So Mel, I'm going to try to share out my screen. I think you might have to make myself presenter again. Yeah, why don't you stop sharing and I'll make myself presenter.
Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to, I've got a little bit of an issue with my monitor here. I picked the wrong person to share. Okay, so here's back to the slide. So there's some definite advantages, because Forms Viewer includes Q rules. I don't know if this was obvious to you or not when Jimmy mentioned that, but we can connect to lots of different web services, and we showed how to connect to Zendesk a couple years ago as a demo. Any of those publicly accessible APIs out there from Google or from lots of different companies, they're all accessible from your form. So if you've got something you're using like Salesforce, or you're using I don't know, SurveyMonkey or MailChimp, or one of these online web services, like Microsoft Dynamics even, they all have APIs, and because Q rules can connect to those, your forms can connect to them. Now it does take a little bit of time to add the data source to your form and hook it up. But once you get it working, Jimmy took 4 hours to hook it up to this Google API, then it's easy to add it to other forms. So if you've got a web service out there that you want to connect to, let us know. It's easy to update your form to do that. Now, for this API, the Google API, the benefit is, there's a lot of benefits. Obviously, the optical character recognition that you saw at the end there allows you to get text out of an image. So if you're, for example, expense reports. If you have an expense report with a bunch of receipts, you could easily take that text out and use it for your search. So you could have the text from the receipts automatically in your form. Facial emotions, not sure how important that is for some of your forms, but it's kind of fun to demo. The landmark stuff, though, is important. You want to know where something is, and a lot of times you're in the field, you're looking at something and you're taking a picture of it, and you want to add a note about it. So the same kind of you wouldn't necessarily need to analyze it, but you could, and you might get some more information about it that would be useful. So mainly the benefit, I think, is search. So what I'm going to do next is show you how to add images to SharePoint. And we have another sample that we're going to send you today called the Picture Perfect XML template part. We've done this in our training before. I'm going to open this up from my desktop and just show you how this works first before I show you how I did it. And then we're going to go back to Mel's demo, and she's going to also show you the technique for adding images. So here's the demo. It's basically a really simple form. It took me about 20 minutes to create this last night. So once again, we have to choose a file. So I'll choose a picture file of, I'm just going to choose one of these pictures here. That's not me on chemo. My wife's on chemo, but I'm sitting next to her. So if you're wondering what the title is, uploading the image, and it replaces it with a link. And if we go back to our site, we should be able to see the image. When I refresh, we'll see everyone's image. And one of those, I've already uploaded this twice now, so you can see that there's Shaylee. Hey, Shaylee. Looks like we've got the image twice. There it is. Okay, so let's see how we did that. So first of all, these are InfoPath forms, so we're still using the designer for some of the work, but we are able now in Forms 2.2, which was released last week, we're able to actually go in and add the image, some of the functionality directly from the UI. So if you've got Forms Viewer app installed, you click on Forms Viewer and you go to Manage Templates. And what you're going to do is you're going to upload a form here, and then you're going to add Q rules to it. And the way you do that is through the UI. So let me just quickly show you how I created this form. So you start with the designer. Let's just start with a blank form for now. And we'll send you this XTP as part of the training for the webinar today. But if I have an XML template part, which is a pre-made control that I can add to my forms, and you can see that it automatically adds something to the view as well as an upload button, and there's some red text. So the red text is telling me what I need to do to fix this up. So the first thing I need to do is I need to save the form and inject it with QRules. So I'm going to save the form out to my machine as demo2. I've already done this once. I've got my backup if I need it. And then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to upload a new template. And I'm going to call this webinar demo 2. We've got the new grouping now in Forms Viewer, so we can automatically group stuff. And we're going to add the template here and upload it. Now, the reason why I'm just doing that is because I don't have, let's say you don't have QRules installed. Forms Viewer does not require QRules license to use QRules. So you can actually just go up, upload the form, and inject it from the UI. So you can go into Diagnostics tab. Now we're going to be separating the designer features from the diagnostic features probably in the next release. But right now you have to go to Diagnostics and then manage QRules. And this is where you're going to inject the form with QRules. So you can see this button over here. I need to inject it first. And then once I've injected it, I will add a mapping. So I want to map the data to a list. And you can add the mapping here by specifying the mapping name. And then you can go in and add your mapping. So this UI used to be in the InfoPath to SharePoint list tool. So it's pretty easy to figure out. You need to select the list. And you need to, let's call this site visits instead. And you need to then specify what data you're going to map into the list. And you can select it from the actual form. So what we want to do is select the repeating element here, which I believe is picture. If you're not sure what it is, you can switch back to your form and take a look. It's pictures, actually, that's what we want. And then you would add the fields that you want to map, the title, for example, maybe the URL for it, and let's add the URL. So we'll add that. We'll add another field for the URL, which is that one, I believe. And then we'll add yet another field for the notes. And I guess I don't have any kind of notes here, so I'm going to map it to face emotion for now, which is kind of crazy, but we'll do that. And then I'm not going to add an ID to this, Jimmy. I'm not sure if that's going to work or not, but I just want to show people how to inject the mapping into the form. Now, once you've added QRules and injected the mapping, you can now go back and download the form and actually see it in the designer. So we're going to do that next. We're going to go back to the templates, and if you refresh this screen, you'll see that the version for that webinar demo 2 is now incremented by 1. So it should be by 2. It's once for the injection of QRules and once for the mapping. So now if I download this form, and I want to close it before I do that, you'll see that, of course, with Chrome, I don't want to open it, I want to download it. So I'm just going to go back to Chrome and go to my downloads, copy this to the folder that I was just in, and open this up in the designer. Okay, so this is, you'll see that now the form has been injected with QRules. You can tell by looking on the right here. It also has that site visits mapping in it. And so now that we've done that, we can basically take this red text out, and we still need to update the data connection to point to our web service. And actually, in Forms Viewer's case, we can ignore that because we don't care about that. But we do need to update the image here, this upload button here. And to do that, we're going to select Manage Rules, and we're going to go in and change this to be the QRules command and not the picture node. And that's pretty much all there is to it. We do need to change this as well. We don't need this first parameter anymore, but we do need the URL to the site. So we're going to put in our picture URL here, and I believe that's this here. And that's about it. I think everything else is good. That will upload the images. Now, if we want to submit to the SharePoint list as well, we'll need to add a command to do that. And the way we do that is just add a rule, an action to set the QRules command. And this is going to be submit to SharePoint list. And the mapping is going to be the site visits. I believe that's right. Now, if you're wondering, if you're doing QRules, I'd highly recommend that you add a debug section to your form with the QRules execution history, just in case something goes wrong. Okay, so that's all there is to it. Let's save it now and see if that worked. And we're going to save it and upload it again. One of the benefits of the Forms Viewer these days, version 2.2, is the ability to quickly publish your forms. So you can literally just go in here and drag and drop the form or click on it, and it's a much faster process than publishing through InfoPath used to be. So now we can open the form and see if it works. So this is the site visit 2, hopefully. And you can see I've got my add image here. So I'll add an image to a cat. And depending on how large the image is, sometimes, what's the cat emotion here? Curious. Okay, and we'll try to upload this, and you can see that it is trying to do something in the background. If it's successful, we should get success in the command history, and you can see there that it did succeed. So if we go back to pictures, we should be able to refresh this and see Nora. There she is in all her splendor. And if we go back to the list, the site visits, we should also see Nora here. And there she is there. And that's how we map, that's how we upload images to a picture library and submit data to a list that can then be used for other processes. Any questions on that? The benefit is, you may want to reduce the size of the form by reducing these large images and replacing them with links. You may want to allow users to replace images with a different image, but in form will link to that image. And it's easy to add, as you saw, just within this 5 minutes I was able to create this form from scratch using that XCP. And I'll include the XCP in the webinar package today. So I think we're pretty much done. I want to just put out an advertisement here. Many of you are on Forms Viewer today. Forms Viewer is our migration path for InfoPath. It future-proofs your form. Not only is it faster than InfoPath Form Services, it works in 365. You get all these wonderful missing features, including the ability to integrate with web services like Google Vision to get things, and whatever other web services you give us. We demoed signature capture last week. We're going to be working on adding more and more functionality to the platform Forms Viewer app over the course of the next few months and years. And that's pretty much it for the quick ad. We have training, free training for Forms Viewer coming up in October. It's actually probably going to be a 3-day class, but if I can find someone to do day 4, we can have 4 days. And now it's question and answer time. So Mel and Jimmy, can you make any comments first? Mel, can you go first and add a comment?
Yeah, I just want to let people know that even I, the designer myself, I'm very excited about all these features that are getting added in Forms Viewer. It just makes my life as an InfoPath designer a lot easier. So thanks, dev guys. Perfect.
Way to make it look good, Mel. Way to make it look good. And thanks for the demo too. Jimmy, any comments to follow on Mel before we answer questions? And if you have questions, please click on the question area and ask them. We've got one question right now, but we'd like a few more, or even a comment. Jimmy?
Yeah, I just want to say again, I'm excited to be continually finding new possibilities for Forms Viewer. This ability to query web services is great, and the custom plugin functionality we added a couple weeks ago is also probably gonna greatly increase the ways you can use your forms, and just bring it into the next generation of InfoPath, I guess.
Thank you, Jim. We've got two questions here. And Matt's got the first question or comment. I'm interested in linking to Zendesk. We use Zendesk in our call center. So we've got a form, a sample form that we did with Zendesk, and you can actually download it. All of the webinar samples are free. If you go to our website and you click on Education underneath Webinar, you'll see at the bottom here the list of past webinars. And if you search for, I don't know if it's in the title or not, I don't think it is, but if you search for Zendesk, it's not in the title, but it is, we did a webinar back in, I want to say it was this one here, Authorize Your Forms with a PIN. I think this one actually has the, no, that wouldn't have been it, because we had a download. Jimmy, do you remember which one had the Zendesk stuff in it? I think I have it on my machine, actually.
Not off the top of my head, but I could probably find it given.
Okay,
a little
great.
bit.
And we have another question here from Shaylee. Will this webinar be available? Will the video be available? Yes, Shaylee, all of our videos are on YouTube, and they're all linked from this page. So if you go back to the education page, you can just click on here, and it links to the YouTube video. So we'll have this up probably within a day, probably today or tomorrow. We'll have a 914 webinar link and the package download. Great question. And that's it for the questions. So thanks for being here, everyone. We look forward to presenting another webinar next week. We've also got free Power Apps, not free, we've got Power Apps training and Flow coming up in October. If you're looking at Power Apps and Flow and you want a very quick 101 primer and introduction, and Hillary's going to go into quite a bit of detail as well. We have that class coming up, and we're featuring a 20% discount. It's very inexpensive. It's $695 for the class minus the discount. And you get all the content, you get the videos, you get Hillary for 4 days in October. So if you're interested in that, click on our classes and sign up for that Power Apps and Flow. You can look at the syllabus here as well. I think there's a, well, there might be, you might have to go over here to get the syllabus, but we do have the syllabus going live soon. So I guess it's not up there yet, but we do have a day-by-day syllabus going up, the coursework, the overview, and you can register here for the class. And thank you all again for being here. We'll see you next week.